So school's been really busy. I have had a bunch of things going on. I've kept up watching movies, but I haven't had much time to review stuff. I thought, what better way to welcome you all back to the channel, welcome myself back to the channel, than by doing a bookshelf tour. But the problem is, because I don't actually have a back camera, I can't show you the actual shelves, so I'm just going to go around the whole shelf and show you various bits and pieces that I have, including books, DVDs, all my collections that I have housed on the shelves. So the first thing that I have is a script for a play that I was in when I was 7 years old, called The Raft. It's a rather hefty script. It was about 2.5 hours long, but it was absolutely fantastic. The next two things are a couple of trophies that I have. This one here is for excellence in literature, so that's for just general sort of English achievement. And then this one here is for creativity in writing, which is an award that my personal writing got while I was at school. The next few things I'm going to skip over, because they're not important. The books that I have here are in alphabetical order, starting with numbers before letters. I will not dwell on anything too much, unless I have to. Okay, so the first book that I have on my shelf is 11/22/63 by Stephen King. Moving along to The 13th Reality by James Dashner. 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami, which is an absolutely fantastic book. You should buy it by all means if you can get your hands on it. I'm not even kidding. Don't hesitate. Just go do it. You won't regret it. I'm just going to shift the camera up slightly so I can reach the next shelf down. The next few, I do own the other two books, but they're on my Kindle. I am planning to get a physical copy of them at some point soon. Okay, so I have A Clash of Kings, A Feast for Crows, and A Dance with Dragons by George R.R. Martin. They are books 2, 4, and 5 in the Song of Ice and Fire series, respectively. The next book that I have is a book that I won in a contest. It's not very good. I don't know why I even entered the contest in the first place, but it was free, so why not? Called A Fistful of Kung Fu. I mean, it's an addition to the collection. So there we go. This next one is called A Mutiny in Time. I also won this book. It's the first in a series called the Infinity Ring series, I believe. The next book I have in my collection is The Bachman Books by Stephen King, and containing 4 of the best novellas that I've ever read. There's sort of a consensus that Roadwork, which is the third story in the collection, isn't as strong as the rest, but that doesn't really matter, because Rage, The Long Walk, The Running Man totally make up for it. Moving down to the next shelf, we have Bag of Bones by Stephen King, Blaze by Stephen King, which was published under the pseudonym Richard Bachman, The Bourne Legacy by Robert Ludlum. You may have seen the movies based on those books, but I have no idea. No idea. Breathe by Sarah Crossan. A lot of the books are going to go back in. Cell by Stephen King. And then Christine by Stephen King. So obviously there will be a lot of Stephen King books in this collection. Oh, my accent just went funny there, but like this. I kind of like that. Just because you can see in the background there are a few posters. I've just pointed to them and sort of directed them. So, where's my finger going? This one over here is a Doctor Who poster saying keep calm and don't blink. This one here is for the first Hunger Games movie that I got at the screening. These two here are for 2 ballet performances. This here is from the Mad magazine. I won't bother going into too much detail there. Okay, so I'm back. Going down to the bottom shelf, we have Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis, which is a very well-read book, as you can possibly see. I have a few omnibus collections, so I just went by whatever the first book in the collection was called. So this is Coldfire, The Mask, and The Face of Fear, all in one book by Dean Koontz. The Complete William Shakespeare, all in one massive, beautiful, leather-bound book. Moving on to Cujo by Stephen King, which is one of his best. And the next two are both written by Stephen King, Danse Macabre and The Dark Half. Let's go put these books back in, and then we're going to move over to my next shelf. I may end up splitting this stuff into 2 sections. We will see. Okay. So over here I have the Dark Tower series, The Gunslinger, The Drawing of the Three. Now, I don't own the third book, and the series I own it on Kindle. I'm planning on getting it in hard copy because it's my favourite book in the Dark Tower series, apart from possibly, like, the very last one. Then I have Wizard and Glass, Wolves of the Kala, Song of Susanna, and Book 7, The Dark Tower. Moving on, I have Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor, Death in the Sunshine by Dennis Wheatley, which is missing its slipcover. Moving down, we have Desperation by Stephen King. Oh my gosh, just trying to find the actual books. The Dead Zone by Stephen King. Different Seasons, also by Stephen King. You're not gonna believe this. Doctor Sleep, also by Stephen King. Now, I'm just gonna try and get on the camera this next section, because there are a lot of things that I'd be having to get out. It's like a selection of Doctor Who books that I own. I got them all at a convention earlier in the year, so I'll just turn it around, and they are all here. So I have Doctor Who and the Enemy of the World, Doctor Who and the Curse of Peladon, Doctor Who and the Demons, Doctor Who and the Androids of Tara, Doctor Who and the State of Decay, Doctor Who Terminus, The Twin Dilemma, Terror of... what is it? The Terror of the Vervoids, and Doctor Who Ghostlight. Then in a box set, I also have the Pirate Loop Revenge of the Jadoon, Wishing Well, and Peacemaker. So I'm just gonna move down yet again onto the floor. The bottom shelf of this bookshelf, we have Dolores Claiborne by Stephen King, which is a fantastic book. Very short as well, so you should totally check it out. Dragon Tears by Dean Koontz. Dreamcatcher by Stephen King. Doomickey by Stephen King. What? A Series of Unfortunate Events, The End by Lemony Snicket. Eragon by Christopher Paolini, Firestarter by Stephen King, and the Forbidden Game series by L.J. Smith, which I still haven't finished, I only read the first book in there. I'll be back in part 2 later on, and we'll see what happens from there.